Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Yarnflakes Podcast. My name is Audrey and this is a knitty yarny podcast from the southwest of France. Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me for this new episode. I hope you are all doing very well, that you are enjoying the beginning of March. Here it is very rainy as per expected, but I am on the way of two storms at the moment. It's coming. I don't know which one this is, if this is Miriam or Jorge was the name of the storm coming. But yeah, so it's a little bit gloomy, but we're gonna get along with it anyway. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you're all doing well. I have a little episode for you this week with quite a few things to show. I have a new pattern that has been released on Ravelry. I have two new works in progress because I have completed the ones I was working on previously, and so I've moved on to new ones. So I have this to share with you, and I will show you the finished ones when they are ready to be shown. And I also want to share a little pretty yarn that I got, and I want to show you and brag about it. But yeah, I think that's it. I also wanted to say, so at the beginning of April is the Knit Eat festival in Lyon. I already mentioned it. So Lyon is a big city in France, and we are having an absolutely amazing yarn festival there with a lot of vendors. Most of them are French indie dyers and designers, but there are also people from different parts of Europe. You have Belgium, you have the UK, you have Spain, you have Italy. So a lot of different vendors are going to be there. A really beautiful selection of both pretty hand-dyed yarn and natural woolly, really lovely, more artisanal type of yarn making. So yeah, it's going to be a lovely festival. So far it's okay. Now you're probably aware of the flu virus. I don't know how I'm supposed to say it. The thing is, its official name in French, which is like COVID-19. I don't know how we're supposed to say it pronounce it in English. But anyway, in French, it's like its name really sounds like it's some sort of bank loan system. So it's a bit awkward. But anyway, because of that, and to avoid any propagation of the virus, some events are cancelled to avoid a ton of people staying in the same closed space. So unfortunately, other knitting festivals in France have been reported delayed because of this. Normal. We want to keep everyone safe and healthy, but so far the Knit Eat is maintained because it's below the threshold, because they intended to not let too many people get inside at the same time anyway, for basic safety reasons, and to avoid like what happened last year, which was that basically we couldn't move at some point. There were so many people in. But yeah, so far they sent out news that it's okay and that it should still happen as planned, but we never know. But so far it's fine. So far it's still gonna happen. It's going to happen on the 4th and the 5th of April. And so yeah, I mentioned it before, in case you are around Central Europe, you want to make the trip. Lyon's airport is extremely well distributed across Europe, so it shouldn't be an issue. One, I highly recommend that you come because there's yarn and food. Two, I have entries to give away. So I have 2 entries, each being for one of the days of the festival, so one day. I have to give away. So I have made a post on Instagram for that, and you can check that post over there and enter if you are willing to do so. And if you think that you'd actually go to the festival, like, don't enter the giveaway if you like are not gonna come if you win, because that's just too bad for the people who would have used the entries. So yeah, I also wrote in that post that if you want, it's not mandatory, but like if you want, you can use that to share the work of someone you like some maker, independent craft person, or some sort of independent business that you think deserves more hype and that you want to spread the word about. And yeah, I kind of wanted to meet new people, like discover new businesses and things and new artists. So I kind of used that post for that to ask people to give me recommendations for anything from yarn crafts to jewelry, food, illustration, anything. So in case you want to participate and you have someone that you would like to talk about, you can just send us there. And yeah, I think that's it about that giveaway. I am going to cough for a bit. I realize what it looks like. It's like I'm talking about the virus and then I'm coughing. I'm not sick. I just recorded the French podcast before and I'm like, my voice is already dead. So this is gonna be interesting. But yeah, I have a little discomfort because of that. But I'm not sick. My brother is sick. It has a normal flu, perfectly normal flu. And he was there for lunch like a couple of days ago, but just like I stayed, like I pushed him away with a stick, not to catch said flu, because I don't really fancy being sick at the moment, regardless of the sickness. Anyway, let's change the subject, right? I am going to move on with the rest of the podcast. You can find timestamps to everything in the different sections in the description down below. If you want to skip anything, feel free to look at that and jump ahead. I also put links to everything that I talk about, as well as my social media, patterns for sale on Ravelry, and my Patreon page. Yes. So, first off, I have just published a new pattern on Ravelry, and it's a pattern that I have been waiting to publish and share with you for quite a while, and I'm very excited. And it's the sweater that I'm wearing now. So the origin of the sweater is that I wanted to make a basic sweater that had multiple options, and that would also allow people to understand how a raglan works. So it would be like a beginner friendly pattern, but with like sort of examples that something can be beginner friendly but still give you lots of option to customize and to get precisely what you want. So the base of this sweater is really simple. It's a top down in the round raglan. Let's knit it like this, with a little texture detail on the side, and it's a really simple slip stitch motif that just goes on the side of the body. And this is a motif that I had used in my Ferriga sweater like last year, and that I really liked, and I just thought it looked nice. And that's where the sweater gets its name from. Riu means river in Occitan and Old French, and I just thought that it sort of looked like it was flowing like a river. So, Crimea River, oh god, no. So, the thing is, you have 6 different options basically for this sweater. You have a I-cord neckline, like the one that I have here, or you have a normal ribbed neckline. You have a waist shaping, like I did here. So basically you have decreases for the waist and then increases for the hips, a little bit more for the hips than for the bust, because that's how I am. Sorry. And yeah, the pattern includes indications on how to adapt the waist shaping, like where to place it to you. So that's an option, or obviously a straight, simple body. And then the final rivet point, like pivot point is the bottom hem. So you can have it here as a high-low curved hem, basically, like it's not really visible because I'm standing a bit weirdly. Basically it's curved like this with short rows on either side. Or you can have a straight, simple hem. Now you can see that it's a little bit curved here. Do you like my leggings? Or you can have it simple and straight. So basically I did two prototypes, like two samples for it. I did mine like this with these options that you can see, and I did one for my boyfriend Marius with all the other options, so that you could see how like it works for any gender, obviously, and how it looks with the different choices. So you can mix and match these options. You can get the neckline like this, but the shaping like the other. Like you can completely mix and match to your liking. There is also indication on how to make a color block version, and you will be able to see in the pictures of the pattern that my boyfriend's version is a color block one. So basically the last third of the sleeves and of the body is in a different color. So I also included instructions on that and on how to avoid the jog and everything. So yeah, so as you can see, the idea was to have a rather simple sweater with like just a lot of custom possibilities, and the other big thing was to make sure that you'd understand the raglan. So this is my first pattern that is going to be published that uses a raglan cheat sheet. Basically I think that would be the case for most, if not only, raglans going forward. I have decided not to write row by row instructions for the raglan, simply because I find them extremely counterintuitive. It's just like a huge block of text, because the thing is with a raglan, right, you have to handle the different increase ratio for the body and the sleeves, and to sort of make that work with the armhole depth, and all of this has to be different for every sizes that you grade, because it's not proportional. Because if you just do it proportionally, then for the larger sizes you're gonna have a armhole depth that ends here, and since it's already so difficult to match row gauge, and it's really common to see that in like some people don't have the right armhole depth that this designer wrote, because they don't have the right row gauge. That's normal, because it's quite difficult to get the right row gauge. So if on top of that, in the grading, the armhole is already too low compared to what it should be for across the different sizes, then that's not easy. So it's a lot of things to handle for a raglan at the same time, and basically if you write them row by row, it just makes a huge lump of text that takes like a full page at minimum if you can make some sizes work together, but it's not that precise. And also if you want to add some sort of texture or like a different motif, a pattern all over, then it's like just really it's just too much text, and I just feel it's really not intuitive, and it doesn't help you understand exactly what you are doing when you're knitting it. And so I thought that as a knitter I do really like raglan cheat sheets, because it's so easy, right? You just look at the raglan, so you have a table basically with the round numbers. Every round is here, and then it says body or sleeve increase or both, and you just like have little checks on the columns, and you can see row 1 increase body and sleeve, row 2 no increase, row 3 increase only body. And I just think that that's so intuitive to follow. It's much easier, and I really liked it as a knitter myself. So I decided to try it out as a designer. Like I always made cheat sheets, but I just never included it in the pattern. But I decided to to say, okay, I really don't like writing row by row instructions, because I think it's intimidating. It's confusing. It doesn't allow that much liberty, like freedom, I mean, for designing and things. And so I'm just gonna put the table. So that's what I did here, and I also did a video tutorial explaining how it all works and how to read the table and which increase to do where, so that you have a visual explanation of how a raglan works, basically. And so this is like a really, like, it's beginner friendly in the sense that if you are willing to understand how the construction work, and you watch the video tutorial that I put in, and you just take the time to like understand what's going on, it will allow you to see how a raglan works and what you can do to adapt any sweater design to your liking. And maybe if you want to make your own and add whatever texture you want on top of any basic sweater pattern, then that will be much easier for you. And so that was kind of the idea, and I just really liked the freedom that this gives, because for me, when I'm grading and I can do it straight on the table, and then I don't have the restraints of having to make sure that it's gonna be understandable and not so wordy, because I have to separate every size and make it work individually. If I just do the table, I can pretty much see how the raglan is gonna look and how I'm going to be able to curve it, right? Because you can make a raglan many different ways. You can make a straight line like this, you can make a more curvy thing like this, or you can make, like I did here, some sort of a S shape, basically something that increased quickly at the beginning, then a little bit less, then again quickly. So it was much easier to grade like this, and it was also much easier for my test knitters to knit. So I am really happy that everyone has been liking this system so far. Like, I'm having at the moment 2 sweater designs with that system, and all my testers are very happy with it. Like once they got past the prejudice of not having written row by row instruction, it's just so much easier, right? Because you don't have that sort of instruction that says repeat rows 1, 2, 4 X amount of times, and you don't have to constantly keep count of which of the 4 row repeat you're in. And it's just so much more intuitive to have the table and to just say, okay, I've done this line, this line, this line. And so with that pattern, I included that video tutorial, like I said, which makes it even more beginner friendly, because it's a fairly simple raglan. For another garment that I have designed, and with that system, I have done things a little bit differently, and it's interesting as well, but it requires a little bit more thought process maybe. So this is like really basic and really simple, and that is kind of what I wanted to do, like I said, for this pattern, for it to be basic, but to show that because it's basic doesn't mean that you cannot make it however you like, basically. So however you like, basically, that's funny. Yeah, so that is you, and you have a lot of different versions in the test knitters project, all of which are like, can show how different it can look and what modifications you can do. One of my testers made it into a cardigan, which is absolutely lovely. She also continued the motif here under the arm, which looks very neat. It's pretty simple to do. Yeah, I think I've said everything for this. I think I've said everything for review. So it is now available on Ravelry. You can find the link in the description. And yeah, I really hope you like it. It's yeah, I really enjoyed knitting the samples and everything. And I don't have anything else to say. It's a fairly basic. Yes, of course, I didn't even say the yarn or the gauge or whatever. So it's knit at the decay weight gauge. So I have used, for this sample, I have used, held together, I can't speak. I have held together drops Flora and Holstgarn Titicaca, so a fingering weight and mohair, well, in that case alpaca lace weights together, and it made this really nice fluffy marled effect. And for the other sample that I gave my boyfriend, I used drops cotton merino basically, and it's a color block version. So yeah, you can use any DK weight yarn you'd like, or any combination of fingering plus lace weight if you like the fluff. Yeah, this makes it a very versatile garment, and I just wanted it to work for a variety of people and knitting skills levels and everything. And I have bought a new cable because, sorry, running out of battery. I have bought a new cable, and now I should be able to plug it in and keep recording. I don't know if it's working. Let's hope it is. So yeah. That's it for you, I think. There is a little coupon code to get 15% off the pattern until this Sunday for the release, and it's the code RIU, and yeah, it will give you 15% off. And everything is written in the description if you care to have a look at that. And so I'm going to move on to my works in progress. And like I said, I started a new project. So the first one is a pair of socks, a design one. So if you remember, if you were watching, at the end of last year, I said that I would like to release a little socks for spring collection. Basically a little collection of socks that would be like very, not very, but that would have like some sort of heavy patterning on them. Some sort of lace, twisted stitches, cables, things like that. And I had made the first one back at the end of 2019, and this one is currently being test knitted because I would like to release these socks in March, April and May, so to have like a little spring thing. And so I started knitting the second one and here it is. And so for this, the 3 pairs of socks, I will be using the same yarn, which is Opal sock yarn, the 4-ply one, which is a great typical standard commercial sock yarn. Nothing unusual there. And this is the Burgundy color, which is like really pretty. And these are the socks that I'm making. So for these socks, I wanted a few things. So I really liked this leafy diamond motif with seed stitch, but I didn't want to just do that. I wanted this to be like structured within the socks. So what I did is that at the back of the sock you have, so repeat of the leafy thing, you have a center cable that's going to be basically running down the back of the foot, and then you have this little cable shaping here that makes a little triangle that basically starts the heel flap. So you have this sort of triangular top heel flap here, which means that these socks will only have the heel flap method in. So yeah, that's the thing. Usually my sock patterns, they all have 2 heel options, if it's possible. Here, because of the aesthetical choice I made, it's only gonna have the heel flap method, but you know, well, I mean, you could technically absolutely do a short row heel or any type of heel, but it's just, I made sure that this blended in, so that's how it worked. And because of this, the leg is gonna have like a minimum length, which is pretty short. I noticed that in general people knit their socks longer than I do. I must like rather not long short socks, but yeah, basically you won't really be able to make it shorter than this. Like you could knit a shorter cuff obviously, but there's gonna be like this minimum length for the leg. And then I managed to include instructions on how to make it longer if necessary. But yeah, I made some choices, because I wanted the socks to look a certain way, that were quite kind of restricting how I could grade them. So I had to grade them differently than I usually do, which meant that I had to find little works around to add notes in the pattern so that you could still modify them to your liking. So yeah, you will be able to make them longer if necessary. But yeah, this is how the back will look, sort of, because it's not blocked. And this is how the front will look. And basically the front, you can't really see it here because I just started. Basically the front will also have that sort of pointy cable here, like something like this is going to happen here. Basically it's gonna close the motif. That's what I meant by adding structure. Basically I wanted the motif to be like shaped within the sock itself, if that makes sense. And so this is going to close the motif like this in the point, and the rest is going to be in stockinette. And so on the top of the foot you're gonna have like a little point here. So yeah, that is how this sock will look. And so I'm going to finish this one, and then I think I'm gonna make the third sock of the collection so that I have at least one of each done, and I can make a little picture to show the collection or something. But yeah, I will just release one every month, so in March, April and May normally, if everything goes okay. But yeah, this is the second one, and I absolutely adore this color. It's sort of a weird place because I just finished the gusset shaping, but yeah, this is how they look like, what they look like. And yeah, like I said, I had to my voice, I had to grade them a bit differently than usual, also because I like this worked for me if like the stitch count was uneven on each side, which means different grading for the heel and everything. It works. It's supposed to work. So yeah, I'm quite happy with the work that I've done on these socks. Now I just need to actually knit the sample of it. But yeah, I hope you like them. I really like knitting these little socks. These are a bit easier than the socks that are currently being test knitted. The other ones are not necessarily complicated, and the thing with socks is that even if you try some really fancy pattern, it's just the sock, so it's tiny. So yeah, that's quite nice. You will see quite a few lacy type socks from me in the upcoming month. But yeah, moving on to my next work in progress, and it's a new whip. And basically I started my Venice wrap tank. It's so dark all of a sudden, god. Last summer I saw the Venice wrap tank, not temp. Okay, Audrey. The Venice wrap tank by GorillaKnits that was released on Ravelry, and I absolutely loved it, and I knew from the start that I wanted to make it for this summer. And so the thing is, I wasn't sure what I wanted it in. So it's a tank top, right, or a vest, I don't know which country says which. Basically it's a sleeveless thing which wraps basically in the front, and then you have like ties that you wrap around your waist and tie it, and it's a nice little cute thing. And I really wanted to make it for the summer, but I wasn't really sure what yarn to use, because the thing is, right, for my size, small size, I only needed about 400 meters of yarn, right, so that one skein. So I could potentially have used one of the 100 hand-dyed variegated speckled skeins I have but I didn't want it to be variegated because it's quite an out there little tank top already, and so if it was like a really striking color, I don't think I would have worn it that much. So I wanted kind of a neutral color, but I didn't have many, and my plan was originally to make it black, just black, because I had a mix of Cascade Heritage which I originally bought for socks, but is a awful sock yarn, basically. I had a really bad experience with it. I knitted socks with Cascade Heritage, blocked them, and then they were already not felting. Oh god, I forgot the word in English. You know when you need to shave them later? I forgot. Basically they looked terrible just after I blocked them, and I didn't even touch them, let alone wear them. So I was like really disappointed. So that out of the question. Make socks with that yarn that I have, the Cascade Heritage. And so I had some black yarn, and that would have been enough, but then I knitted the mitts for my boyfriend in black that you have seen in a few episodes back. And so now I don't have any more. I don't have enough black yarn anymore. So I wasn't sure which yarn to take. And then I remember I had this in my stash, which is Bio Balance yarn, which is a 50% cotton and 50% wool yarn, organic yarn, which is a really, really great summer yarn. It's really soft. It has the advantages of wool and cotton mixed together. It's just perfect. It has that lovely heathered effect because the cotton doesn't take the dye the same way as the wool, and it just looks absolutely stunning. And I had this in that like mauve color because I wanted to knit the Lota dress, which is a pattern that was in one of Line's magazine. But it was a dress with the slip stitch motif. I didn't want to make it as a dress, but as just a top, because dress shape and me is a whole other issue. But I ordered a bunch of yarn to make it as a top instead of a dress, but I think I ordered too much. Like I overestimated how much I would need. So I think I have enough to do both in case I still want to do the Lota thing. But I decided to take this, and it actually kind of looks like the sample from the designer, so you know. And it's absolutely lovely. So I have knit the two fronts. Basically you knit it flat, so you start at the bottom rib here and you start making the front shaping like this, like you keep decreasing. So it's gonna be like this basically, and this. Ta-da! No. Difficult. So yeah, you also do a little bit of armhole shaping. It's really weird what I'm doing, but now that I started, I'm just gonna keep doing it. So yeah, this is sort of what it looks like. And so you do as well a little bit of armhole shaping. You put stitches on hole, you do the back, you join the shoulders together, and then you pick up from the neck thing here, from the neck edge here, you pick up some stitches and then you knit a double knitting stockinette thing, which is going to make the ties that you wrap around. So really easy, really mindless to knit. I kind of wanted that at the moment, something chill, and that is just perfect. Really easy, portable, so quick. That's kind of the thing, right? You spend all winter knitting large garments and big chunky projects, but they take quite some time, and then you're like, oh, it's gonna be spring, summer soon, maybe I'm gonna make a top, and then just zoom. So quick, no sleeves, no nothing, and it's just perfect. So that's really satisfying. So yeah, I'm gonna start the back tonight, and I'm just gonna chill and just do it, and that's gonna be nice. My row gauge isn't quite right. Basically in the pattern she says do X amount of rows, because you kind of have to for the decrease, right? Also, every size is written on a separate page, which is okay, convenient enough, even though I did quite a few times look at the wrong page. That's just me. But yeah, it's a row thing. But then she says at the end of each part, she does say that you should have something that measures sort of this length. Now my row gauge is a little bit off, but not too much actually, so that's fine. I just didn't knit as many rows at the top as she said. Just 6 rows less, I think, but that's okay. Yeah, the measurements are only written in inches. Stop doing that. I mean, I understand that like America is like for a lot of designers that are American, America is like their biggest clientele, like customers base. But if I forget just one time to give the inches measurement, I'm gonna have the bald eagle coming at me, someone like a proud American coming at me, telling me like, you know, defensor of freedom to the world, and telling me that I forgot the inches. So I just find it funny how like double standards, you know, even though clearly you should use metric. But yeah, it's okay, it's not really a problem. I just need to convert the thing. The only time where that's a little bit of an issue is when I grain my patterns, because like you only like the rule, if I understand correctly, the rule is to grade every quarter inch, and that's actually the only case where my text editor would like turn the quarter into like a fraction symbol, which is convenient, because it doesn't work with the eighth, with like the 1/8. And so I have to stick to quarters, and like every tech editor I've ever spoken to and everything always told me stick to quarter inches. And I'm like, yes, okay, that's too big, because sometimes I have like 0.5 millimeter differences between different sizes, and okay, just on one thing it's not a lot, but added like over a whole piece it can add up to a lot if you miss by not 0.5 millimeter, 0.5 centimeter, so 5 millimeters. You see, like 5 millimeters is not a lot, but added every time it can be. And the thing is, sometimes I'm gonna have 2 measurements that are very different in the metric system, and it's gonna have the same inch measurement, and so it just bugs me because I'm like, but that's wrong. And yeah, that's the only moment where I'm like, what do I do? Do I just lie on the inch measurement just so that you don't end up knitting the wrong length? But just, yeah, it's a little picky thing. It's not that big of a deal, but it still bugs me to see 20 centimeter, 20.5 centimeter, and just have the same inch measurement. It just, it bugs me. But that's how it is. And here I only have to look what it corresponds to so that my brain can understand. But in the end I ended up getting the right measurements anyway. And so yeah, I really like how it's looking. I love this yarn. It's an absolutely lovely blend. And yeah, I have quite a few of it, and I would like to make some summer tops with it, as well as, I mean, my own designs too. But yeah, this is what I've been knitting on. I think I've said everything about it. Yeah. Yes. I did. I wanted to end this episode by showing you a little pretty yarn that I ordered and received recently. So at the beginning of January I decided to make myself a little gift because I was bummed because I have some issues, like both personally and some issues that I've cross-fired, and so it's not pleasant. Like, I'm in a mood for the past few months basically, and like even my cat hates me. You know, I have that cat that when it's raining outside, which happens because it's like winter and spring, right? It's raining outside, so he's gonna try to go out the back garden, and he's gonna stay at the window until I open the window and tries to get out, but he sees that it's raining, so he's not getting out that way because it's raining. So what does he do? He crosses the house and goes to the other side of the house so that I open him there, the door, so that he could, like, you never know, right? It might not be raining on this side of the house. Who knows? But yeah, obviously he notices that it's raining there as well, and so he's not happy about it, and he complains. It's like he's yelling at me for the rain. It's like absolutely ridiculous. Cat. But yeah, like even my cat hates me at the moment. But yeah, so I was a bit bummed, and I decided, okay, you know what, I'm just gonna treat myself. And I've been following Shelly Morales, maybe it's Spanish, I don't know, for quite a while. She is an American spinner, like she hand spins yarn, basically. And I've been following her for quite a while, like years I think, and she does absolutely stunning work. I absolutely love her Instagram and just watching the fiber transform into her beautifully even, majestic yarns. Like, it's really amazing. And I've been wanting one of her hand-spun yarns for quite a while, and it's just that it's quite pricey, obviously, first because it's hand-spun, right? It's hand-dyed fiber, hand-spun, so obviously, and it's actually pretty reasonable, yeah, what she charges for the amount of work. But on top of that, there was, I keep making that sound like annoying. On top of that, there is the shipping to France, which is a little bit expensive, especially when it stops at the customs for a few weeks and you're like, ooh, something's happening. But actually it's not. They just kept it for a week for no reason, because they didn't tax me. I'm quite lucky with that. Like, I mean, I would absolutely pay customs. Like, my fault, right? I buy foreign products, I pay the taxes. But I'm quite lucky and rarely, very rarely get taxed. Usually in France it's really not as systematic as it is in the UK, I think. Anyway, what was I saying? So yeah, I decided to actually buy one of her skeins because, as I will tell you later, I have a design idea with it. So it comes out really orange. It's not that orange, it's more like ochre and burgundy, but it's more golden than orange. It's totally the wrong color here on screen and it's kind of pissing me off. But absolutely beautiful. I wanted something like this, you know, with the barber pulling effect of handspun, where you have like the two colors marred together in one ply, one ply, because it's the two ply, yeah. And I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. So yeah, but totally unoriginal, like in the same, like there's quite a lot of designs at the moment coming with this type of yarn, right? Whether it's actually hand spun like here, or whether it's like a thing that mimics that look, like the Spin Cycle brand, for example, which I've talked about previously. And it's like you have Andrea Mari and a ton of other designers that use this type of design, especially in color work, because it works quite well. It gives a really interesting effect. And so this is Superwash Merino, and it's a DK weight. And I have this colorwork yoke drone that I drew it back in January, I think, and I really like it. It's like it's crystals, like the base point with crystals. Anyway, you will see when I start knitting on it. But I drew this yoke that I really want to do, and I think it would look really good with this. And I was looking for a contrast color, and I decided to do this. So basically, this is gonna be a colorwork yoke with this as the contrast color, and maybe some stuff around the cuffs and hems. But yeah, this is Ulysse by De Rerum Natura. So this is the Fusain colorway, so it's like the darkest charcoaly grey. I sort of debated using like a cream color, like a very light greyish cream color, but I thought the darker the thing, the more my little beautiful crystals in that yarn would pop, and that was kind of the idea. So I'm kind of torn at the moment between the fact that I need to work on summery designs, and I want to. I have lovely summer tops and summer cardigans ideas that I really want to work on. So I have to do that. I want to do that, but at the same time I want to do this. And we're gonna have like a really dark color work yoke in the middle of the summer, but I just really want to work on it. It's not the right color. Oh my god, like it's a completely different color. It's just incredible. I really hope that I'll be able to photograph it correctly, because that's wrong. But yeah, that is all I had to say for this episode. Yeah, I will just end with my little Patreon chat as usual. So I have a Patreon page where you can get patterns basically every month, or and by the way, not or but and a little special video that I record in French but is subtitled in English. And this month we are talking about natural yarns that are strong. So if you want to make socks or even sweaters that are long lasting and that are hard wearing, basically project that will just not show too many signs of wear, but you don't want to use something artificial, so no nylon, no superwash. I just talk about yarns that are naturally strong, so whether it's because of the fiber content, because of their plying method, of their spinning characteristics, and I also talk about the methods that you can use, the techniques, the knitting thing that you can use to make your knitting stronger. So that is the theme for March Patreon video. So in case you're interested in that, yeah, you can join. And like I said, so my Patreon is in both languages. You just have to scroll to see the English portion every time, but it is in both languages. And you know, even if you don't like watching the subtitles video, it's a way for you to get a pattern just for the month that you are joining, if you'd like. So yeah, that is it for everything. Thank you so much for watching this episode. I will see you again in a couple of weeks normally, yeah. And yeah, I wish you a very happy beginning of March. Just yeah, stay safe, wash your hands, don't be mean to people because you're scared, and yeah, just calm down and wash your hands and stay safe with you and your family and everything. And the storm is here. Yeah. Bye.